Hi, this is Autumn Bear, acupuncturist, herbalist, and food enthusiast. I'm here to talk a little bit about gluten and why gluten is really important. There's a lot of controversy in what to eat these days, and there's always those fad diets, and a lot of people think that going gluten-free happens to be one of those fad diets. And maybe for some people that might be true, but gluten in particular has a really interesting effect on the immune system. And so a lot of people that I see who have a lot of different components dealing with their thyroid, metabolism, digestion, and even sometimes back pain, as well as allergies and things like that. A lot of those components can actually be related to food intolerances and food allergies. And gluten happens to be one of those really big factors. So gluten, the way that it works in the body is essentially when you eat it, the base component, the protein, the gluten aspect is what binds everything together and makes it soft and smushy and gooey. Well, when you eat gluten, it does that to the insides of the body as well. It makes it a little gooey. And for those people who have an inability to really digest that protein, what happens is that it gets really sticky and it kind of sticks into the lining of the large intestine, and which is where we reabsorb everything before we excrete whatever is waste product. So when those holes get plugged up, the body essentially will start to try to make those holes bigger and bigger. And then what we end up getting is a lot of other food particles that start to leak in. And this is what we would consider to be leaky gut syndrome. And it can cause a whole host of autoimmune conditions to really be triggered. So even if a person is not necessarily allergic to gluten, if they have an inability to digest it very well, and even someone who's just really sensitive, it can cause leaky gut and other intolerances. So the general rule of thumb is that if you have any sort of sinus conditions, allergies, colicky baby, all sorts of different things that have to do with digestion, of course, but even just like things like a thyroid issue or something pertaining to like low energy, or even have a challenge with chronic fatigue, sometimes that can be an indication that you have some sort of food sensitive. So I recommend that you take gluten out for 2 months. Of course, I recommend getting any and all tests that you can get and see, but those tests can be inconclusive, especially if you've been gluten-free. So if the general rule of thumb goes, if you feel better being gluten-free after you've eliminated it for 2 months, then the general idea is that you can do without it and your body probably functions a little bit better. Yeah, so gluten intolerance. Hope you're not intolerant, but if you happen to be, I hope you'll consider going gluten-free. And hit me up with any questions. I'd love to answer them, anything that I don't answer in this little video. And be well.